Shout out to the flip thought. You feel me? Had some technical difficulties. I'm gonna holler at you later, bro.
All right, bro.
All
Yeah.
right, gone. All right. Welcome to the block. Welcome to Freedom Boulevard. It's me, your brother Black Light. This whole stream is a little experiment. Starting off, let me see where it take me. I'm gonna be hitting on topics that's going on, world news, local, international, and of course, for our black people. It ain't called Freedom Boulevard for no reason. Shout out to my father, rest in peace. Happy birthday to my auntie. Hope everybody had a blessed Father's Day. If you're with your children or not, I know y'all be together soon. You heard. So also to say that this page is gonna be, for showing that, we have culture, you know what I mean? Be it in spirituality and entertainment, not just entertainment, revolutionary inventions, a lot of things, a lot of narratives have been put down on black people or whatever you want to call us. Our names have changed. Put in the comments what you identify as: FBA, Foundational Black American, more American, Kimite, Israelite. Who are us in the Americas, indigenous to this country that built this country? So today's topic, we're going to be looking at Dr. Umar's view on the ICE protesting. Mind you, I'm international, coast to coast, from the East Coast to West Coast. So we jumping all over, like I said, it's going to be nationwide news. I think it's a lot going on in the world, and my premonition is a lot of people are going to start to realize what's going on. I want our generations to feel like gangs are not cool. You feel me? Why have a gang when you can have an organization? You know, different things like that. I feel like a lot of these rappers are getting caught up and converting to Al Islam. It's not only for fear, but that's really what they came from. A lot of people think that that comes from protection and things like that. You can be protected by many other things. But even in that, why is Islam so strong within the penitentiary system? So today's little snippet is going to be on Dr. Umar's. Shout out Dr. Umar. I do not own the rights of these. It's my first live. You heard? Message me if it's the issue. Leave it in the comments or something. Don't straight. All right. So I'm gonna be looking at Dr. Umar's take on this.
Up to this point, should Black people be getting involved in this issue? Or should we stay laser focused on our own people? Because we're still fighting for basic dignity in this country.
Here is my position on the migrant crisis and the
Basic
migrant
dignity in the
protests
country.
that are sweeping the country. No group has ever come to America to help Black people.
Mm.
No group has ever helped.
Nobody has ever came to America to help black people. That's crazy because me being black myself, I'm always hearing us, even me myself, always reaching out to other people or try to give them a little history of whatever I know. Saying, yeah, y'all black too, or this and that. Well, I come to find out people really don't care. Only if something going down, then it's like, oh, black people, look what they doing to us. But other than that, it's just, that's me personally. I've grown up in urban environments and cities, and I know everybody's not the same. So that'll be the only disclaimer I'm saying for that. Everything else that you're going to hear is my opinion. Rock with your brother Black Light. I'm going to go shine light on some things, Let's get back to Brother Umar.
helped Black people. You've had individuals participate in Black struggle, but never as a community. European Jews never said we're going to help Black people as a community. Latinos never said we're going to help Black people as a community.
No,
They
but
come here to replace us. And most of them align themselves with the white power structure against African people.
so what you said with the white power structure, I do agree with that. Now, our closest allies growing up, like say in the tri-state area, closest ones to us wasn't even Dominicans. It was like Puerto Ricans. I feel like because they went through hip hop was the crack era, but really a lot of them, the family structures, a lot of times they wouldn't want them to have black people as friends or whatnot, or in other Latino countries, some of the black people don't really make it up here that we just think like, oh, all Cubans look like Pitbull, Dale. Like, nah, like, you feel me? Like I mean, it's a lot of times the darker ones just so happens don't really make it up. Shout out to Lawrence, Massachusetts. Massachusetts, for some reason, I learned a lot. It's always good to travel, yeah. But it's like even the term mulatto, Castillo, Amarillo, they have the mixing breeds that were made in these countries, or even the term raza. What is really raza? Can somebody tell me what that is? Are the Africans that are indigenous to, if that's the real the word, if that's the right word for it, to Mexico? Are they considered raza, or only the Castillos or the descendants of the conquerors? That conquered. Need to know what that word means over here. You feel me? Is that what raza? You know what I mean? And I find it ironic when a lot of Hispanics do make it up here, because of me, I've lived out of the country and here, so I know different. Like my family has this very diverse background. So living up here, I noticed that it's like a federation. Or you speak Spanish, it's like a whole nother world. It's like, but within these countries, these people are still persecuted. You know, for their bloodlines, for what they look like, and things like that. And it's really just a power thing. It's just what's easier. I feel like a lot of issues with the black community to go on deaf ears is because at the end of the day, um, people are expendable. They can be not expendable, but they can be deported and things of that such, and they're gonna go for their family before anything. We probably be the only ones that judges content of character, which is why we don't like lump up on break times, cafeterias. I mean, you might see a black person with all types of people, but these other peoples, they do, in my opinion. Let's go.
With that being said, I do not support black people getting involved in the migrant protest. That is not our fight. If you say you're going to do it, am I going to stop you? No. I would never stop someone from doing something that they feel is right. Is Dr. Umar participating? Absolutely not. Am I going to help Donald Trump get them out of the country? Absolutely not. Because as the
Absolutely not.
victims
We're
of
not helping
oppression
Trump.
and the worst
Nothing.
victims of
You
American
got people
oppression,
that work for him.
it would be complete hypocrisy for me to work against the best interests of another people. But am I going to help them? That is not my fight.
Now, I'm concerned that if
Mhm.
we're looking at what they're doing with the migrants, are we next? Should we get in? But just to circle
Hmm.
back, should
Hmm.
we get involved
Were they
just
first?
to minimize the situation when or if we're next
out
on
of
that list?
self-preservation.
Hmm.
Exactly.
If we are next, we were going to be next anyway.
Mm.
Because guess what? They hate
Ooh.
you more than the migrants that.
Yo, Umar, he be talking. I don't agree with anything he be saying. He be going overboard sometimes. But that point right there, definitely, he said we was gonna be next. We gonna be next regardless. Like it's technologies that's 50 years ahead, and even beyond that we don't know what's going on. Like, and what's crazy is I know there's a lot of black people getting flack for choosing whatever they choose, but where's the outrage on the Boricuas? They American, right? We American. Where's the outrage on the Latinos that voted for Trump? You know what I mean? Like it's always something. I feel like we always get the highlight. You feel me? We always lit up on everything for some reason. A lot of times people might think we make things about ourselves, but really we're the most monitored. Like it's crazy.
Trying to get rid of.
Mm.
And one of the reasons it's going to be difficult for you to be next is you are the only non white people in America who cannot be realistically deported to an ancestral
Hmm.
homeland of your own because slavery destroyed your
Don't have that.
psychological and biological connection to your continent
Also,
of
also even that, also even being, what is your origin? Because it would be whole continental Africa. Everybody's not from the same spot in Africa. These are mixed tribes, mixed people, not to mention having lineage from England or Scotland or Ireland. If I could be a Polish person and then claim lineage to Israel thousands of years ago, what about a couple generations ago? Would I be able to be deplorable to England, the UK, get some of them pounds, Southeast Asia, the Yucatan, These are mixed groups that I'm even speaking about within my own bloodline. You know, where will we go and how? You know what I mean? So that's not even. It's not even a logical question. You know, and a lot of these places they had armies also.
Origin. So, in order to get rid of black people, you have to come up with a program of genocide. Because, as we've already said, a lot of black people don't even identify with being African.
Mhm.
Now, Donald Trump is working on a plan to deport inmates to prisons in Central and South America. So, I can see a situation where he's able to deport the incarcerated, the convicted. But in terms of general black people, I think it's going to have to be a program of genocide because so many of us do not identify as African in the first
Mm.
place or don't know where we come from.
This is scary because it's
And there has been genocide. You know, World War One. World War One. That's when those monsters came over the ocean blue, 1492. You know, biological warfare. You know, human trafficking, children SAs. You know, all that through the. How you doing, Jazz? What's up? What up? What up, Jazz? What up, with you? You know, even with the treatment of the native Indians even being taken to Spain first, you know, or even um through the slavery, through the breeding, the torture, all this stuff, it always been genocide for us. You can't get rid of us nowhere. You can't get deported. You can't, you know what I mean? All the way up to civil rights, crack era, you know what I mean? Like the EBT, you know what I mean? The destruction of the Panthers, you know? It's
almost
crazy.
like if you look at it,
We just
they
in
may
here
be
checking out some
deporting
Dr.
migrants
Umar Jazz.
now,
Good luck for
but
sliding
to
through.
what demise does that
Like,
leave
share, and
us?
See,
subscribe.
here's the thing the migrants
Uh huh.
they're deporting them to countries that they know they come from. These
Mm.
people have a ancestral connection to the countries that they're being returned to, and most of them have only been out of them countries for a generation or two.
And this takes me to my next point.
Not
You hear that, Jazz? I know you a little mix or something, but I don't know what you feel about the deportation, you know. But you know, this is what we're talking about right now, and the criticism black people are getting for this, you know. You know, share the video.
20 generations of slavery.
Because if you're putting them back to their original countries,
Yes.
that means that you are removing the responsibility of them being in your country and being harmed. So if they're back in their country, they're their responsibility. But who's coming for us?
Where they coming for us. Here's my point. Deportation is not the only weapon being used or that could be.
Yeah, I don't think she understood what he was saying because she she just was talking about the migration. Then like, who's coming for us? We ain't come from nowhere. The Atlantic Ocean, you know, is impossible for you to find your because first and foremost, who is pure from their tribe? You know, you talk to some Nigerians, I try to tell them like, yeah, you know, my ancestors, you know, they be like, how? How do you know this? But who is your father? I'm like, nah, like DNA. You know what I mean? They some of them will try to, you know what I mean? Like, but you know, I can't tell them like, oh, I'm 36% Yoruba. You heard? Like, because that's the biggest African. I mean, yo, and of course, ancestry. Yo, these DNA things for black people. We the only one that's looking. Everybody else know where they came from. That's another note. But yeah, it's wild out here.
Used against African people. As we talked about the miseducation, the mass incarceration, the police genocide, the homelessness, the gentrification, and the economic apartheid, we have more concerns than just being deported.
Mhm.
These are individuals who came here who are benefiting off of the black struggle for civil rights and set asides, who have never spoken up or defended black people at all. And so their argument or their issue is one of people who have recently arrived. They are not the people who built America. We built America. Our argument is completely different as someone who is coming in to benefit from a country that they did not build. We made this country brick by hypocritical brick and have contributed to its building more than any other group. So I
Hold up.
see our situation.
He was saying something right there. I'm trying to get the fan, bam. You know you got to get the fan to support. You know, it's my
The
first stream.
argument or
Hold on.
the issue is one of people who have recently arrived. They are not the people who built America.
Recently arrived.
We built America. Our argument is completely different.
Yes, and one thing I always need to say, everyone that comes here when they come here new, you get mad if you want, whatever. Their issues and their protocols are always met. When they march, when they have their issues that they get is looked upon a different way than what black people march. We don't get the same rights that we started with within the 60s, the civil rights and all that. It's not the same. It's not the, you know what I mean? But when new people come here, when the new generational, it is met, in my honest opinion. Okay, we got two viewers in here. Shout out to y'all. You know, like, share,
As
subscribe.
someone who was coming in to benefit from a country that they did not
I'm
build,
Black Light. You
we
heard
made
the
this
name. The
country.
name's good. The
We're
YouTube
trying
name
to
gonna be
benefit
Black
from
Light.
it
You
and
heard
have
shedding truth
contributed
on
to its
this.
building more than any other group. So I see our situation completely different than I see the migrant
Hey,
situation.
family, thanks for taking my call. And Dr. Umar, much respect.
Peace.
Listen, I'm going to make some comments and I want you to respond to them
Okay,
because you have some hosts and you have some
got
listeners
a
at
caller.
WVON that feel this way. So, number one, I am Africa is not a country; it's a continent. So I don't.
Okay.
So with that being said, I don't know where I'm from, what country in Africa I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with that being
I was
said,
saying
I've
that.
been born and raised in America. So I am
Mhm.
not black. I'm not an African American. I am an American.
Oh,
So I choose to be patriotic. This is my flag, red, white, and
black.
blue.
Whoa.
I am a Negro. I'm in the Constitution. I'm a free man.
Say he's a
So
Negro.
this is
A
who
Negro
I
mean
am.
black.
I am not an African American. Again, I'm not black. I'm an American. Respond to that, Brother Omar.
Thank you, Cliff.
Yes, sir. For me,
Wow.
the logic is completely ridiculous because America will turn 250 years old next July 4th of 2026. There's no race on earth that is younger than 250 years old. So
Wow.
everyone has an origin story that predates the creation of the United States.
So this is what I'm talking about, Dr. Umar, right? So he just saying who is he, where is he from? Because you want to talk about race and whatnot. And if everybody come from Africa, then everybody would be black and our country would be Pangea. You know what I'm saying? It has to be somewhere where we can put, okay, this is us, this is what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, that's like saying all the other countries, oh, you're not, is a Russian, Yugoslavian, Turkey, you know what I'm saying? Is, you know what I mean? Like, what's the difference between Haiti and Dominican Republic? Like, what year does it take that we say this is our own? And I think what he meant by he's not black, I think it's just him. I say a Chinese, but like say a Chinese person is Chinese, right? That's still a nation. Now there's something called the Han DNA, or their phenotype, genotype. There's a lot of different places in China that make different countries. So you can't just say it's because you're black, you're African. Like you say of African descent. I think he was, but him saying that I'm not African, I'm this and that. I mean, clearly we are, but with Umar trying to mix everything together, you can't just say the whole race thing because then it would be the whole world, and we're not gonna get no kind of reparations or what I mean, political traction, just saying the whole world at first, Let me see what the rest he said.
States. The ironic thing about black people is we're the only people who have term limits on our blackness. Chinese come from China. They've been here 10, 20 generations. They're still Chinese. Irish come from Ireland. They've been here 20, 30 generations. They're still Irish. Arabs come from Arabia. They're still Arabs after 2, 300 years. Black people are the only people who have to be.
Okay. Arabia is not a country. That's what I'm saying. These new things we need to be put in play because don't you need a nation to come to the United Nations? You know what I mean? Saudi Arabia is a country. Saudi Arabia. Arabia is not a country. Saudi Arabia is a country. Africa got over, was it 54 countries? They still warring over Morocco to make Western Sahara, Democratic Republic of Congo. There's so much war out there. You think it's going to have a place for us to come out there too? You know what I mean? What year does it, how many ancestors does it take that we say that America is ours? You know what I'm saying? How many generations? You know what I mean? Like how many bodies, how many inventions that we've made? So I don't know what y'all think. What do y'all consider yourselves? Foundational Black Americans, Israelites, Kemite, Kemetic, more American, Black, Niggas, let me know what y'all think. Put in the comment, man. Put in the comments.
In America for a certain amount of time no longer want to be who they are and completely try to dissolve and hide themselves, within.
Hey, have you heard what's happening at Mathis Home? You can shop price drop alerts and save up to 25% off on the latest bedrooms.
The culture of the dominant population.
Okay, right there. Hold on, let me see how to boom. Oh, I'm using how to use the eye. So I got another thing for us to look at before we out of here. My first live. Thank y'all 2 viewers. You know what I mean? We started from somewhere, you heard? We started from somewhere. We got another I'm gonna show this right here. So we got another clip right here from this. Now I want to know what y'all think about this.
Latino protesters call a black cop the N-word during the LA protest. We can't win like that. Put up the picture for a mass. This has to be checked between the two communities as protesters continue.
Hold on, I'm trying to find, matter of fact, because I liked when this one brother had did the reaction. Yeah, his brother by the name of Young Ant. Shout out to Young Ant Hefe. Salam alaikum. I believe he's Muslim. He did a reaction. I just wanted to give his take on it because I thought it was interesting. Trying to find his page right now. It's a lot of me. Okay, here we go.
Y'all know since Trump came back into the office that
It's like fast. Hey yo, I got mad summer school. I got left back at the time. So
been out
make
in
credits.
full swing, pulling
I
up
had
in
to learn to type. I could
communities,
never learn how to type. I thought it was, you know
arresting
what I mean?
people,
That's why I
pulling up
typed
to
that.
graduations in schools, all type of stuff, and they've been arresting people. A lot of this stuff is very disrespectful. A lot of this stuff is very
Just this right
disheartening.
here.
And
Is you still rocking with me?
I'm
My cousin
not
coming in
with
and out. Pause.
a lot of these things and the
What you
practices
think about
of
this?
the way America does a lot of things. But as being a citizen of the United States of America, I've been victim to a lot of things. And being that I want to live here, and it ain't that I want to live here. I was born here, you know what I'm saying? I was born here, you know what I'm saying? And historically we can go back to this land up. So it's like they can't, they enslaving us the way they enslave us, but to send us back somewhere.
A black cop the N-word during the LA protest. We can't win like that. Put up the picture for a mass. This has to be checked, dealt with, and if not, the narrative will permeate that the actions of the few indicate the actions of the many, and they do not. A video of Latino protesters in LA peppering a black cop with racist slurs.
Definitely was wild.
This is being used to discourage unity between the two communities as protesters continue to take the streets in opposition to an actual evil.
They should
Trump
be
administration.
It's
and
probably
their
a lot of
crackdown
white
on
and
human
Spanish
beings
cops out there, just like
who happen to be
said.
migrants.
They singularly mad at him.
I'll spit in your face F your family, N word, F your kids, N word,
Mm.
end quote. A
What,
young
what is
Latino
Spanish
protester
people
yelled this
that voted for
at an
Trump?
unnamed Black LA cop
It shouldn't even be
who
about
remains
Latinos.
calm,
So that's one
doesn't
big thing we need
respond,
to get
does
clear.
not
It should
act
just be
unprofessional,
Latinos are
does
not
not engage
what's
in
targeted
violating constitutional rights.
without papers. There's a lot of
I'm thankful for you,
Africans that's
sir.
out here being quiet and not
Quote,
protesting because they being
I
quiet
can't
and
sleep
hide.
comfortably because of you.
Ethiopians, Somalians,
A young Latino woman says,
believe
joining in, calling the officer the N word repeatedly while getting personal about his eating habits. She signaled she knew him as a customer at Kava, where she
I
she
remember
works.
you
Put
from
up the screen
Abba.
share.
You ate all the pita chips.
You know, Dr. King
I couldn't sleep at
helped us
night.
understand that you cannot get rid of darkness with darkness. Only light can do that.
Mm-mm-mm.
And you cannot become the same evil that you protest to stand against.
There's a lot of that going on.
Put up this next
Black people, we always
picture.
giving out the love.
I want to remind everyone
Always.
the words that I just read, the
Unbiased,
quotes,
yes. In my experience.
are
We always trying to
identical
reach out to everyone else. Nobody come for us.
to those we are protesting against. MAGA, Trumpites. The exchanges led to an ex account holder,
Do-rag and MAGA caps is crazy.
do-rags and MAGA caps,
That is
a pro-Trump account, to
wild.
capture the video, which was viewed nearly 81,000 times. Quote, Black Americans, this ain't our business.
Mm.
End quote.
Saying our business.
Another one joked that a cop was behind the X account. Another post expressed disappointment, writing, quote,
But it's
the
not
N-word
just a
use is
Latino thing.
increasingly disheartening.
It's not Latino. That's
But that
what I
doesn't
say.
change the cause.
What is
LAPD
black?
has
And then I mean, what is American? Like, what is it? For me, what is the line? Who are we? So these are identity questions that I've been asking. People been asking for years. Even myself searching for myself. Alhamdulillah, I found myself. But these are things, and there's Haitians, there's Cubans, Black Cubans, Dominicans, Black Puerto Ricans, and I mean, so these are also people. Puerto Ricans can't get deported; they are American also. You know what I mean? So there's that. But like there's black people everywhere. Brazil has the most black people outside continental Africa. Brazil. You know what I mean? I think in these cities, these are just uproars of people hurt, believing in the American dream, which is to come here, shit on the niggas, get rich off them, and leave the hood. Basically, in my opinion, in the cities that I've been. And once people forget, when they realize, this is why sometimes some evils are necessary, people forget where they at, who they are, you know, what this place is. Sometimes you need to get reminded, you know. I remember during the George Floyd riots down in San Diego County, the black people was worried about other black people. Like it was rival gangs dressed in full attire looking at each other. A lot of that destroying was white kids and them Chaldeans, them Christian Iraqis. Word is born. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's all this destruction going? You know, they say that we so violent. Black people is the most loving, most open people. Where we get violent is when we love. When we love something, our heart get broken. That's an impulse of something that, yeah, we might need help with, but everybody has their faults. When people have a relationship, like, oh, don't worry, she Puerto Rican, she got a little fire to them. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that. Oh, she's Irish. She's a little. You know what I mean? We need to be able to say that about ourselves and be okay with it. Even that's another thing that's unfair. There's a lot of psychological traps that we have in our brains. Even saying this because these are not just Latinos are being deported. You know what I mean? These are Afro Latinos as well of the diaspora. These are Jamaicans as well. You know what I mean? If Haiti hasn't closed their openings up due to their tragedies, it may be them as well. You know, and a lot of these places have gotten these atrocities due to the American white power structure. You know, but honestly, if you adhere to that, and if if you align yourself for that, come from another country where in your country you do treat black people bad. People forget that Mexico, they do deport people from their own country as well. There's people that being black people being treated terribly there. They're coming up here, and not in only that country but other Latin American countries that are based off of white supremacy. Because let's just be clear, this is the new world, okay? You will always be in the bottom. Let's just be clear. They literally have European countries that divvied up the globe. Let's be clear with that. And these Latin American countries, they have never had a black revolution. A lot of times they maybe get revolutionized when they come in contact with us. The Brown Berets and the Young Lords were inspired by the Panthers first. Sometimes you need to get out there and have the positive attitude and do talk to people and change their hearts. But let's keep it clear: these people are coming from white power structure countries, enslaved nations. You know, New Spain. They say California was a part of Mexico and whatnot. I understand that, but this was a New Spain empire. Who was the leading peoples of this? What were their ideologies of this? You know, it was a white power structure system, like I was saying, the mixed breeds, this and that, doing genetic breeding to control people. I mean, this structure system will go at lengths end. So we just really need to, think what's going on. I myself, I have a Latina daughter, and, and I try to talk to her every day about these things, but they're confusing at this time. Maybe later on in life we'll be able to talk about these things and have some clarity. But these are such confusing times that no one can see straight. So I just think we need to look at facts and just go over things that the priority of things, because everyone has always getting their issues met. You know, it's, we have been the first. It's like having a child in a group home or whatnot, and you keep adopting kids, but the first child you treated terribly. You literally treated like an animal or below it. You keep letting kids in. Now you treat them bad. You might have blown some of their arms off, things like that. But you're compensating it for them. And what, you're giving them leeway to have a own sector of the house. And you know what? That first child, you just keep overlooking and overlooking and overlooking. That might build a psychological point where, oh, we got zero in here. That's good. It's about to be time to get up out of here. But yeah, that might be make a psychological standpoint on certain oppressed peoples that they might not trust into the work system. They might not trust into, um, the American dream. Things like that. But yes, yeah, I think that was my cousin. Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody that came through, all two, three y'all. You feel me? It's just the beginning. It's Black Light out.